Moving on to our bright lights, a part we always love here. Our bright lights will be Hillcrest Growing Community, Growing Learners. You're on.
Well, thank you for the opportunity for us to share our story tonight.
Thanks for coming.
This is really a good year of work in progress as we have been developing our identity. Who are we and what do we aspire to be as the Hillcrest community? And our logo, which isn't projecting right up right now. We've got I'm not sure if the Apple TV is up and running yet. Should I try again? Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Technology.
We even did a trial to make sure this works.
We have to talk to the chair of that committee.
But in conversations with families and with students and with staff last year, we really are focusing on this idea of growing community, growing curiosity, and growing learners. And so what we're going to share today is all about that growing community part. We knew that was an important core thing to start with.
I got it. Mrs. Lincecum.
You going to give it a whirl? Okay. So my name is Faith Lincecum, and I'm the principal. Chris Holloway, our math effectiveness coach, is here with us today. And then I'm going to pass this on to our two teachers who are also members of our SAIL team, and they're going to introduce their students.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Schultz, and I'm a third grade teacher at Hillcrest. And I brought with me here today Caroline Hike, and we also have Landon Fila.
I'm Abby Lauer. I'm the second grade literacy teacher at Hillcrest, and I brought Kiana Schatzman and Easton Hoyt with me today.
Okay, so there's our logo that has actually written in there, growing community, growing curiosity, growing learners. And then Mr. Holloway is going to speak to our visual that was created at the SAIL launch this summer.
So this was created with the idea that SAIL is thank you.
You're welcome.
That SAIL is what we use to grow students each and every day. So you can see that is the handle or the lever of the magnifying glass. On the inside of the magnifying glass is PLCs, which is what we're using. That's our main tool that we're using to really grow our learners. You can see collaboration with a growth mindset is the energy or the power behind all of this. And at the heart of it is, of course, student achievement, but besides student achievement and to grow that student achievement, we're also seeing that we need to grow our students as their social emotional learning. So that is a huge focus. And to do that, we're using community and building community within our classrooms to build that social emotional learning. And then all of that together to really develop discourse within the classroom. And all of that together is what we're using to really grow our students.
So we began the work with ourselves, and we've had an important focus on developing and deepening the collaboration among all of the adults in our building. And we're doing this through some work. We're reading the book Culturize, which is just an amazing text for understanding our purpose for teaching and helping us have a springboard for conversations around why we're here and how we're all in for kids. And we're also using the text Onward as something to guide our work to understand our identity as teachers and how that grows into how we interact with each other, building the resiliency of everyone involved. Teaching is challenging, and we want to set up a culture where we have a growth mindset, where we know we have the capacity within our own building, within our own staff, with all of the talent that we have to solve all the problems that come our way. It doesn't take somebody outside telling or showing us or a package to do what we need to do. It really is within all of us. And so after we began to develop that work with teachers, then we're also growing that work with our students. And now we're going to pass it on to our younger friends here.
All right, back to Mrs. Schultz's third grade literacy group. We have, if we can flip to that next slide, we have some pictures here of second and third grade, but we'll start with third grade and talk about the things that we do in the community circle so you have an idea of what it looks like and might feel like. So I'll hand that off to our students to share a little bit about some of the things that we do. And these are things that we take a few minutes out of our day, probably in the morning and sometimes in the afternoon, and then again right before we close at the end of the day. So here's Caroline Hike.
So one of the things that we do in the morning is we tell each other how we feel, and we call those the zones of regulation. And there's different colors. There's blue, green, yellow, and red. Blue means you're sad, tired, and shy, and that kind of stuff. Green, you're feeling okay and you're ready to learn. Yellow means you're silly or you're worried. And red means you're angry or you're really scared, hitting. And we also do greetings too. So we greet each other. We have a secret class handshake that we sometimes do, but otherwise sometimes we just do high fives or waves. And I guess that's it. So we play relationship building games. So I guess for games we do this one game called Telephone, where somebody starts off with a sentence and it goes around the circle, and it depends. So whatever it starts off and what it ends with, and see how close you are. And it really means is how we can spread rumors around and how it changes people. And you can say something that isn't true, and it goes around and it turns into different things. We also play a game called Alibi, which is a game where there's a detective and then there's somebody that's telling a lie, and you go around the circle and one person tells two different things, and then the detective has to find out who the wrong person is. Then we play Pass the Bunny, which is where somebody counts in counts in a chair, and then you pass the bunny around, and whenever they stop, whoever ends with the bunny gets to count, and then we keep on going around with that. And then there's, hide the potato. So you take a toy potato and you hide it around the room, and you have to find it in a short period of time. Thank you.
All right, and my two friends are going to be sharing how we start our day and how our community circle works. And then the other day I was actually thinking about, as teachers, we always think about the why and why we do things. And I was wondering, I wonder why my kids think we do community circle. So there was an anchor chart up there where I gave kids a sticky note one morning, and I just said, write down why you think we do it. And so they're going to share a list of the things that my students came up with. This is Kiana and Easton.
So we have a glitter jar, and so we shake it and put it in the middle, and we get a lot of time to think. And then, first my teacher picks a stick, and then they read it off, and then we pass it around the circle, saying what we think it is, and then we get to hear what people think about what the question is.
Share some of the questions.
And some of the questions.
Pull some out.
Some of the questions are this one is, what is something you could do to show kindness today? And then we'd say, if it was, high five a person, if you could say, high five a person that you don't know. And then another one is, what is one thing that you're really excited about? If you were really excited about something that you got to do, you could say what that was. We do community circle so we can remember, so people pass the glitter jar around and they say stuff that is say what is something you could do to show kindness today, and say someone say to remember second grade expectations and to make people happy so they could have a great day.
So do you want to share some of your list?
So some of the things that people said on the Post-its were to remember second grade expectations and to make people happy so we can learn about our feelings and actions. We can have a good day, to help problems be solved, and to be a kind, loving person, to relax, to make people happy and get together, to make your day better, to get together to help people be happy, and to think about how we make it a better day or to make someone feel happy. Some examples are to calm down and see what other people are feeling, to get together, to learn, to share things like what we did over the weekend, to show how you can be nice and kind in school, to have a better day, and to make school a better place, to share kindness, to get together, and to talk about how to be kind, respectful, and helpful, and responsible.
Yeah, so I was really surprised because we never really talked about the why ever since we first started. So it was kind of cool to see all the different responses that came from it.
Another quick thing is you might see the picture at the bottom right-hand corner. We had a student recently leave our group and go to another school. And I think there was such a tight bond created among all the students in our class that she actually knew the kids so well. She created an individualized, personalized picture for each student to represent their personality. And for kids to know each other that well and to miss each other that much after 4 months of school, I think speaks volumes to how far this can take us.
So the work really began to make sure kids felt connected and to make sure that they were all coming to school. If they weren't ready to learn, they were ready to learn by the time we slid into our academics. But it very quickly morphed into some deep problem solving across the classroom and within classrooms, in between like the second grade classrooms or the third grade classrooms as they were teaming. And teachers have already jumped into some of the pieces that we were looking at for our social emotional learning practices, like using the zones of regulation, like making sure that there are opportunities in every classroom for kids to feel safe and comfortable through flexible seating and the use of Zen zones that we have in most classrooms now, the practices around mindfulness. And the community circle also becomes a place where the lessons that are taught during second steps can be processed and they can talk about what happened on the playground as it relates to some of that new learning. And so we call these model classroom practices, but they've really taken off quickly. And teacher collaboration around that has happened through flexible professional development and also through the PLC conversations. So I want to thank my friends for their great job tonight. Thank you. And thank you for your time.
Comments? Questions? Mr. Baumgart?
I want to ask the children something. I'm not sure, but I think it was you that said something about being excited.
Yeah, so...
Let me just ask you, were you excited about being here tonight? Good. We're glad to see that because that's very important. Now, and somebody also talked about happy. I think almost all of you talked about happy and being happy yourselves and happy with other kids. Do you know that we learn better when we're happy? That's true, isn't it? Go ahead, tell me.
I think we learn better because when you're sad, you don't think as well as when you're happy. You get to, think better and think happy thoughts while you're doing your,
Right, thank you. Thanks for your presentation.
Zink.
Well, it just brings me such great joy to see how happiness remains and kindness remains at Hillcrest School. I'm so very proud that over all the years since I've been gone, that kindness still is so important to learning, and you realize that. And you children make it such a happy school for your teachers, and your teachers make it a happy school for you. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to come visit you. Will you let me come?
Yes.
Great. I got to come back and see how wonderful it is. Thank you.
Anything else? Spectacular. Oh, Mr. Dietz.
I just wanted to say to all the students that all the lessons you've learned through mindfulness and zones of regulations and everything else about community building, the example you've been tonight has, I think, been really good for the adults that are here, because there are times when I think more of us should be using some of those same strategies to develop community. So thank you very much for the example that you were tonight, and to show us that it really can work. And it is the direction that we should all be headed towards. So thank you very much.
That's right.
Spectacular. Thank you very much for coming and sharing some of your time with us this evening. We look forward to it.